Within the next few hours, a historic agreement will be signed remotely, ending the largest conflict in the Middle East. Iran officially announces military victory, and Trump gives in despite himself under the pressure of this World Cup, while the Israeli press screams today, "Trump deceived us. This agreement is disastrous." So has America actually surrendered to the conditions of Tehran and the Strait of Hormuz? Or is Netanyahu now preparing to blow up the entire situation on the Lebanese front? What would Iran look like if this agreement is signed? We have very important details for you today, but after this break, stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings, and welcome to another edition of our opinion series today, God willing, which we always dedicate. To keep up with the latest developments and updates of this major global conflict taking place in the Middle East between Iran and the Epstein Alliance, today, dear viewers, we are witnessing an unprecedented historic development as Iran has officially announced its military victory in this war. For some, this development is shocking because at the same time it is a fact and it is a reality that we are clearly witnessing today. America, Israel, and the Epstein Alliance in general have failed miserably in this battle and in subduing Iran. Iran was strong, it remained steadfast throughout this conflict, and it launched a counterattack that was completely unexpected by the Epstein Alliance. As a result, it later succeeded in asserting itself diplomatically at the level of negotiations. To be strong diplomatically, to impose conditions and defend the country's interests, you must be strong militarily. This is a reality that perhaps everyone knows, but Iran has demonstrated it concretely in this conflict. Without real deterrent power, military deterrent power, it is never possible to achieve victories. Military strength is what gives negotiators and diplomats the power to negotiate, or rather, to negotiate from a position of strength. What is happening today between Iran and America is a very important lesson that should be studied in all political institutes. After they used to demand that Iran bow down, stop its nuclear program and missile program, and submit to interference in its foreign policy, and so on. I mean, from the well-known demands that everyone knew before this war, today their demands have become in the end just, what? A final agreement to stop the war? So finally, as all the indicators confirmed today, finally this American-Iranian agreement will be implemented, which will be in two phases. The first phase starts with a memorandum of understanding of 14 points, which we talked about yesterday. This agreement will be signed electronically, meaning remotely. This will happen within the next few hours, according to all the available information, and it will end after 60 days or more. Of course, with the nuclear agreement, it will only be in favor of Iran, which is becoming, thanks to this war and thanks to this catastrophic mistake made by Trump, a major regional power. And here everyone should remember this noble verse. But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. So this war that was imposed on Iran, maybe everyone saw it as something bad. They said Iran shouldn't have entered this conflict. Some said Iran should have surrendered and given into everything that was demanded of it. The Epstein Alliance, meaning just to ensure peace, prosperity and free trade and so on, just to avoid destruction and assassinations and so on. Maybe that's what some people were saying, but glory be to God. It's clear that this war brought about a major transformation and great benefit for Iran, for the Iranian people, and maybe even for the entire Islamic nation, really. This war is what revealed Iran's true strength. It gave Iran the opportunity to use its strengths. It's what turned Iran today into a major regional power So today, after signing this agreement, of course, Iran will breathe a sigh of relief financially, economically, strategically, politically, and also militarily. Why do I say this? There will be a major military development after this agreement is signed. Even in the media, there will be another face of Iran starting today, because this war was the reason for revealing Iran's true face, for exposing how the Arab media in particular, for many long decades, promoted all the lies and rumors that tarnished the reputation of Iran and Iranians, portraying them as magi, killers, criminals, agents of America and Israel, and as enemies of the Sunnis and so on. I mean, throughout these long decades, we can say they exploited three events to tarnish Iran and Iranians. They exploited the Iran-Iraq war, and then they exploited the execution of Saddam Hussein on the day of Eid al-Adha. Then they also exploited what was happening in Syria, meaning the events of the Syrian revolution. They took advantage of these three events very effectively on the media level, in a very dangerous way, linking all these events to Iran, to the point that the average Arab citizen now has a very negative stereotype about Iran. Meanwhile, in the West, they were also contributing to this by promoting other misconceptions, that the country is strict, closed off, undemocratic, that executions even target women without hijab, and so on. There were also many long years of promoting these misconceptions. But glory be to God, as fate would have it, this war came, which perhaps revealed the truth, exposed the reality, and made everyone search for the truth about Iran. This is not just on the Arab level, but on the global level, internationally, even in the West and in all regions. And therefore, it destroyed everything that had been promoted about Iran for decades. So this war was a great benefit for Iran and the Iranians. Even from this aspect, as I said, Iran's image on the global level has improved significantly. Even if we talk about the military level, Iran will benefit a lot. One of the consequences of this war is not only in terms of military and technological development, but also in terms of defense companies, or what is called military diplomacy, which Iran will use in the future with dozens of countries. Iran has faced the strongest country in the world and ultimately defeated it. This puts Iran among the ranks of the world's powerful countries. Add to that, this war has placed the effectiveness of Iranian suicide drones at the top of the list of the most powerful drones today. They were already achieving great success in the war in Ukraine, but now, through this war, Iran has confirmed the effectiveness of these drones even more. So these drones might now become the most in demand globally. So we will see in the coming period, maybe defense companies in this field, along with many other countries, will rush to request such drones or to produce these drones locally, just like Russia did in recent years after the war in Ukraine. And among these countries, there will definitely also be African countries. So there are very big gains that Iran will reap from this upcoming agreement. And especially we find that this time Iran is taking into account the necessity of having a clause that guarantees the continuation of this agreement and prevents it from being violated again. And for Iran, the biggest guarantee is not just this clause, not just the adoption of this agreement by the United Nations Security Council, but there is also another guarantor. The biggest guarantor is military power, the strength and development of weapons. The response by applying this principle means, if you return, we return. This is the biggest guarantee. This means that every day this truce continues should be considered another day for military development and preparedness. The lesson that Iran gave to America in this battle will make it think 1,000 times before getting involved in a new military conflict against it. There have been truly major changes in the Middle East as a result of this war. That's why Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araki made a statement today to Mehr news agency, and he said clearly that Iran has won in this military conflict. He said now is the time to end the war, and he said a very important phrase that everyone should pay attention to. He said the best time to end the war is when you are in a position of strength. And this is a fact that everyone knows, because when you are in a position of strength, you will end the war, according to the conditions you see fit, meaning you will be the one to set the terms. America tried to change this situation. We have seen this repeatedly. It tried to change the situation and achieve any kind of military victory in order to end this war on its own terms, but it failed every time. Now it is the one yielding to the Iranian demands. Why is that? Because there is no more time now to make any more attempts. The World Cup has started, and surrender is the only solution now for Trump. Otherwise, the consequences will be disastrous for him personally and for his political future, and we explained this in previous episodes. Abbas Araghchi also talked about the situation in the Strait of Hormuz after the agreement was signed, he confirmed. And he confirmed that passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be according to a new legal system in cooperation with the Sultanate of Oman. This means that control over the Strait of Hormuz will always remain with Iran. This perhaps now means that there is no debate about it today, because Iran changed the situation by force, and it cannot back down from that except by force as well. And America is completely unable to change this situation by military force, so things will remain under Iran's grip, and they will stay that way. They impose fees on ships, and of course they won't call them transit fees, but rather fees for services provided by Iran, such as security services, inspection, and so on. Araghchi said that for Iran to continue controlling the Strait of Hormuz, it will resort to using force if necessary. He said that the sword will remain poised over the Strait of Hormuz. This means that at any moment, if Iran finds that there is a betrayal of this agreement or a failure to comply with its terms, Iran will once again move to close the Strait of Hormuz. This means their finger will always be on the trigger. And Iran, based on its past experiences, does not trust at all now, meaning it does not trust any agreement with America, no matter what. And this is exactly what is needed. There should be no trust at all. There should always be readiness, constant and continuous readiness. In other words, there is absolutely no room for complacency. Araghchi said that the Epstein coalition, when it stopped the war last year, the 12-day war, it only stopped it, that's all. Because they did not have enough ammunition to achieve victory. And achieving the intended goal of the war means continuing the war for longer. So at that time, they only stopped the war to prepare more in terms of ammunition and military equipment. And this is a fact, and we talked about it since the end of the war last year. This year, they came back again and fought a war for 40 days, not 12 days, 40 days. They thought that now they had enough ammunition to defeat Iran, but 40 days of war passed, and in the end, they stopped it without achieving any goal. Maybe now they stopped it for the same reason. They stopped it simply because they ran out of ammunition. They want to prepare for more than 40 days. Anything is possible, and of course there is absolutely no trust. That's why Iran and the Iranians must take advantage of every day of this truce, and every dollar that Iran will receive in order to prepare well for what is coming, military, technological, economic preparation, and so on. Araghchi also said something very important that we need to pay attention to today. He said that he speaks daily with international officials, meaning with the foreign ministers of countries, and he hears from them the acknowledgement that Iran has come out of this war stronger and that Iran has surprised everyone. He said that the world today sees Iran as a hero because it stood firm against the strongest country in the world. Not only that, but also against an alliance of countries that includes America, Israel, and other countries. So, as I said, the world now has a different perspective. It truly sees Iran as a hero today. Therefore, as I said, everyone will rush to seek Iran's favor and benefit from Iran's expertise. Even the countries allied with America will rush to normalize relations with Iran, to open a new chapter with Iran, because it will be necessary for them. If they do not restore and strengthen relations with Iran properly, they will have to do so. There are rivals who will take advantage of this new reality for their own benefit. They will get closer to Iran, and they will turn this reality to their advantage, to the benefit of these rivals. So, diplomatically, politically, in the media, and militarily, there is a new reality. A new reality that forces everyone to win over Iran today, and we are now starting to see this. Even before the agreement is signed, As I explained to you yesterday, you can see how the Emirates started seeking favor. Iran sent them tribute. There was a meeting, and they will send even more money as tribute. The agreement means that many countries, as I said, are opening the door to partnerships with Iran. Now, the agreement is very close. Just a few hours left. The signing will take place electronically and remotely. But there is only one thing left, something unclear. It's not known what the Israeli position will be. Will Netanyahu allow this agreement, which is considered a victory for Iran? There is a statement from an Israeli official that appeared in the Israeli newspaper Yedioth Aharonoth. He said Trump deceived us and the upcoming agreement is very bad. That's what he said. This means that Netanyahu is completely opposed, meaning he is not satisfied at all with the terms of this agreement. Netanyahu could potentially derail this agreement. With a very simple step for him, he could escalate against Lebanon or simply refuse to agree to stop the war in Lebanon, the continuation of this military operation in Lebanon. Everyone knows that the upcoming agreement includes a clause that requires stopping the war in Lebanon and on all fronts. There is nothing that can push Netanyahu to accept this agreement except President Trump. That is, unless he threatens to leave him to his fate with Iran if he does not abide by this agreement. In other words, to force him to accept it. Stop the war in Lebanon, or else America will withdraw and leave Iran to strike Netanyahu's strongholds however it wants. At that point, of course, everyone will know what the fate of this entity will be without America. So now things are still unclear in this regard because Israel is currently escalating its military activities in Lebanon. It can't be determined whether this is the final escalation before withdrawal or if this escalation is aimed at reaching the limits of an agreement. This might become clear in the next few hours and we'll see how things develop. Will we congratulate Iran on this victory or will we prepare ourselves for another long round of military escalation? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Peace be upon you and see you next time.